redeemed, rehabilitated, and real entertaining. This is the Carl Jackson Podcast.
All right, welcome to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast, this Monday edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Guys, I got some exciting news about a new sponsorship I'm going to be telling you about shortly. But first, I want to talk to you about what we are going to be talking about today. I think the next pandemic is coming. We will talk about that. It seems that Bill Gates, World Economic Forum, and these people are getting together yet again to simulate another pandemic, if you could imagine. Sounds crazy. This is the stuff that would have sounded absolutely crazy, bonkers, insane to me just a couple of years ago. But now we see how evil a lot of these leaders are, and these billionaires and these globalists around, not just in America, but around the world, and how they seem to be scheming to take over. It's really as if they have no God, they have no purpose. So their purpose is to control us and to somehow depopulate the earth. It's like we're in a video game of some sort. So I want to get into that. More fallout from Biden Gate or Garage Gate. I'm hearing some references, such as to that, such as townhall.com. And I want to explain to you why I don't think the Biden administration is being treated harshly enough, and why they won't be treated as harsh as Trump, but why they should be treated as harshly as Trump was. And I will get into that as well. But first, I want to introduce you to my new sponsor, guys, For Patriots. Listen, I'm not crazy by any stretch of the imagination, but I do believe in being prepared in case God knows what. You know, I live in Orlando, Florida. I live in a zone where, you know, hurricanes can hit, and I like to be prepared. But God knows what can come next, Lord willing. Hopefully nothing extremely crazy, but For Patriots has teamed up with the Carl Jackson Show podcast. So thank you, For Patriots. Listen, guys, a food shortage could be coming even in the U.S. Experts wrote as recently as July. Drought, inflation, and even new policies are pushing America's food supply near its breaking point. That's why survival food is more important than ever. And create your stockpile of the best-selling For Patriots survival food kits. It's not ordinary food, all right? We're talking about it's good for 25 years, super survival food, hand-packed in a family-owned facility in the USA, giving jobs to over 200 Americans. Kits are compact, they're sturdy, they're water-resistant, and they stack easily, all right? They have different delicious breakfasts, from lunches, dinners, meals, lunches and dinners. Meals are ready in less than 20 minutes. Add boiling water, simmer, and serve. Right now, you can go to forpatriots.com. Use the promo code Carl for 10% off your first purchase, all right, including this 3-month survival kit. You'll get a year-long guarantee, plus free shipping on orders over $97. They're called For Patriots, the number 4 Patriots, because a portion of every sale is donated to charities who support our veterans and their families. So go to the number 4 patriots.com. Use that promo code Carl for 10% off. That's forpatriots.com. Use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L, and start building your stockpile today. And guys, even if you're not into the zombie apocalypse or anything like that, you should always be prepared. I recommend that you buy canned foods or foods that you normally eat just to, just stock up a little bit, maybe a month or 2 or 3 months worth, or as far as you can go, a little bit of water, maybe a filtration system. But if the crap hits the fan, you want to make sure that you have some supplies that can last and can endure from forpatriots.com. Also, don't forget our guys at MyPillow, Mike Lindell at MyPillow. Right now, they still have their 6-piece towel set available that includes 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. They come in a variety of colors. A 6-piece set for only $39.98 if you use the promo code Carl. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener special Carl at the top of the page. Radio listener special Carl at the top of the page, or you can give them a call, 1-800-858-0263. Use the promo code Carl. And guys, don't forget there's other products there available, some up to 66% off. So take advantage of all of the great deals at mypillow.com. All you have to do is use the promo code Carl to take advantage of those deals. Okay, now let's dive in to this particular show. I'm going to start off with some audio. We're going to break it up a little bit just so that we don't get into trouble. But Neil Cavuto did an interview with James Comer. And I want to start off with this. I want to start off with GarageGate, because if you hadn't heard the news, there's been more fallout concerning GarageGate. Even more documents were found. First, they found some in the Penn Biden Center. Then they found more inside of Biden's garage. There's some information that I want to tell you about, too, as far as Hunter Biden. Apparently, there was some news out there. I reported the news out there as well, that Hunter Biden, I reported this, I think, when I was last in for Officer Tatum, that Hunter Biden had, or my last podcast Friday, can't recall which. Anyway, Hunter Biden had rented out the Delaware home, Joe Biden's Delaware home, for $50,000 per month. But Joe Biden didn't claim that. I'm building this argument because I want to talk about character. I want to talk about the Biden family's character and why they're capable of being these people that are in bed with China, in bed with Russia, in bed with Ukraine. I really think that's part of the Russia-Ukraine war. The reason why we're in this war, I don't think it's simply because of Biden corruption with Ukraine. There's been reports that there was a little corruption with Russia too. We forgot about that, but China no doubt has a major influence over the Biden family as well. So I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about the treatment again between Trump and Biden. And this is very important because it speaks to the rule of law. We're thinking of Trump, we're thinking of Biden, but we should be thinking about us in regards to the rule of law, and why this is very, 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 very important. And also, I got to talk about this pandemic. You guys may recall Event 201. I briefly mentioned this, but it looks like the World Economic Forum, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the World Health Organization are at it yet again. That's why you want to go to 4Patriots, the number 4Patriots.com, and use a promo code Carl to make sure you get your stuff, just in case. Never know what these fools have planned for us. Actually, we do a little bit. So we'll talk about that, and we'll get into that. And I think it speaks volumes, perhaps, what's going on in Brazil with the ouster, in my opinion, of Bolsonaro. All right. Very important stuff. But just real quick, just so that I can give the Biden administration a report card on their character, since everybody and their mother questions the character of the Trump administration without evidence, but purely by what's said in the media about Donald Trump and his family. Sometimes some issues they have with his tweets. But let me just give you this. This was reported a couple of weeks ago. The 7 biggest Biden family business revelations of 2022. I won't go into big time detail over these issues, but it's just important that we build a case before we get to this video about the character of the Biden family, so you know how disgusting of a people, of a family they are, and how corrupt they are. Very low character, no moral type family. All right, so they can be corrupt. We need to build that case. We need to make that case. Turns out there's 7 key developments in the Biden family business scandal. Representative James Comer is looking into this. And these were revelations of 2022. The U.S. banks flagged over 150 suspicious financial transactions from the Biden family. In April, U.S. banks flagged over 150 suspicious financial transactions from Hunter and James Biden. This, according to CBS News. The wire transfers, and listen, when they're wire transfers, the federal government tends to suspect corruption. Yet these people weren't investigated. So the wire transfers included, quote, large amounts of money, close quote, tripped for further review by American banks. All right. So wire transfers traditionally have been the tool of choice for money launderers. To mitigate the risks of financial institutions, suspicious wire transfers of over $10,000 are flagged for review. Wire transactions involving more than $10,000 are also to be reported to the Internal Revenue Service. The Biden family had bigger wire bigger wire transfers than that. Joe Biden met with Hunter Biden's business partner at the White House. News broke in April that Hunter's closest business partner, Eric Sherwin, made at least 19 visits to the White House and other official locations from 2009 to 2015. This, according to the visitors log from the White House. Okay, so there's no getting away from the fact that Biden is corrupt. He is a complete and utter liar. Number 3, voicemail proves Joe Biden spoke to Hunter about family business. In June, news broke Joe Biden left Hunter a voicemail in 2018 about a Chinese energy deal. All right, directly contradicting Joe Biden's statement in 2019 that he and his son had not spoken about the family's corrupt business schemes. All right, it said this, and I quote, hey, pal, it's Dad. It's 8:15. You guys might remember this on Wednesday night. If you get a chance, just give me a call. Nothing urgent. I just wanted to talk to you. That's what Joe Biden said in the voicemail. He goes on to say, I thought the article released online, it's going to be printed tomorrow in the Times, was good. I think you're clear. And anyway, you get a chance, give me a call. I love you. Of course, he's got to end with I love you because he wants that money to keep on rolling, despite the fact that he uses his son and is probably responsible for his son becoming the crackhead that he is today. Number 4, Deputy DNI warned Hunter's laptop was not Russian disinformation. CNN's Natasha Bertolin wrote now discredited story anyway. That's some of the things that we found out. Obviously, Miranda Devine and others made mention of the Hunter Biden laptop before the election of 2020, the presidential election of 2020. All of these reporters admitted or claimed that it was Russian disinformation, so on, etc. But in December, Cliff Sims, the former deputy director of the of National Intelligence, stated to warn CNN reporter Natasha Bertrand that Hunter's laptop was not Russian disinformation before she wrote the infamous and discredited political story, which utilized dozens of former intel officials to purvey a false and misleading narrative about the origins of Hunter's laptop. All right, so this is Natasha Bertrand. She wrote discredited information or information to discredit the Hunter Biden laptop, despite being told the truth. Number 5, White House was debating how to combat probes into Hunter. According to a Washington Post report in December, disagreement exists among those surrounding the Biden family about how to combat Republican investigations into the family business. Number 6, Hunter's drug abuse reportedly delaying charges in tax gun-related probe. The Justice Department delayed its final decision, close quote, on whether Hunter will be charged for alleged tax and gun related. This was towards the end of December, by the way, but I'm just building a case about how corrupt the Biden family is. And I want to do a comparison with the Trump family because what we're experiencing is insane. There's a lot of talk about out there about justice and fairness. Guys, we have no rule of law. This is what I've been arguing. And I know a lot of people won't agree with me, even on the right. That's fine. It's okay that they're wrong sometimes. All right. There is no rule of law. You understand what we have to do is reestablish a rule of law. That's what we're trying to do with the House. Praise God for the 20 heroes that stood up. You notice some of the talking heads, even on the right, aren't bashing them anymore because I was right and they were wrong. And I don't say that to be braggadocious, but I could not believe my ears when some of my favorite Fox News people were talking about the 20 as if they were doing something that was completely unheard of, disastrous. When, as a matter of fact, there has been 7 battles for Speaker of the House in American history that have been knocked down, drag out fights. All right. And that was a good thing. We finally got to see democracy in place. And as a result, the Republican House had a pretty good freaking week last week. So it's just astonishing. So when you tune in here, I'm going to give you not just my opinion. I'm going to give you the facts. I'm going to give you the facts. All right. And I'm not wavering for my fight to restore America. And unfortunately, I do believe we're in a restoration phase. I do believe this is a post-constitutional America. All right, what did I say? White House debating how to... Okay, the 16th, Hunter's drug abuse reportedly delaying... Okay, I said that. Legal experts estimate Hunter Biden's legal defense costs $100,000 a month. Hunter has stated he is not wealthy. Yeah, right. According to Hunter's ex-wife, Hunter was nearly penniless while Joe Biden was vice president, living paycheck to paycheck. After out-of-control spending from 2018 to 2019, Joe Biden even committed to wiring Hunter $100,000. Where Hunter is finding the money to pay his legal bills is unknown, but it appears that Hunter has maintained multiple income streams, according to Breitbart. Okay, I'm going to get into some information about the National Archives. Oh, I want to make mention of this too, because it seems like the growing consensus about the latest scandal, the Garage Gate scandal with the Biden Biden having the classified documents. It seems the growing consensus is this, that the Biden administration wanted to get out or get the story out and get ahead of the story with all of the documents that are being retrieved from his personal residence, as well as the Penn Biden Center, because the GOP were coming in. The GOP are serious about investigations. We see that with James Comer. We saw that with the 20 that forced Kevin McCarthy's hand. A lot of people are pleased with Kevin McCarthy. They have those 20 heroes to thank for that, because Kevin McCarthy is making substantive points. He has to be very specific. He has to put on a fight. And it looks like, at least if we're just judging by 1 week, right? He did a good job last week, but that's thanks to the 20. Their efforts should not go unmentioned. But the prevailing consensus seems to be that the Biden administration is scared of the House GOP investigations, so they wanted to get out ahead of the scandal, and hopefully it would be washed away or long forgotten about after leading up to the 2024 presidential election. I tend to believe there is a level of sabotage to this. And what I mean by that is you never let a good crisis go to waste. Isn't that what Rahm Emanuel told us? You never allow a good crisis to go to waste. So let me give you this headline, hat tip. Wrong headline. All right. Hat tip, Daily Wire. Ex-Clinton White House official. Did you hear that? Ex-Clinton White House official. Biden in very, very big trouble over document scandal. Will get creamed. He'll get creamed. What does he mean? He means in 2024. If Biden will get creamed, who needs to be the champion of the Democrat Party? Can someone say Hillary Clinton wants to be? All right, former Clinton administration official David Gergen, now a political analyst at CNN, warned late this week that Biden was in for a nightmare over the classified document scandal. When asked by network opinion host Anderson Cooper how big of a mess Biden was in, Gergen responded, "It's very, very big. Not legally," he says, right? Because he knows the truth. I'll get into that. Nothing's going to happen to this special counsel. If you're hoping that Biden will, justice will be served when it comes to this special counsel, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to throw some cold water on you. That is not happening. This special counsel was appointed in order to drag out this fight, drag out the investigation, and I would argue, in my opinion, to conceal evidence rather than to expose it, to help Biden with this narrative that he did the right thing while Trump did the wrong thing. That's the intention of this special counsel. So if you were hoping that conservatives got a win with this special counsel last week, we did not. This is a concession, no doubt, from Merrick Garland, simply because he backed himself into a corner. You're hearing this over and over again. He backed himself into a corner. He demanded a special counsel for Trump. He had the Mar-a-Lago raid, all that type of stuff. So he was forced to do the same thing with Biden. However, they sat on it, in my opinion, because they were devising a plan on how to handle Biden's investigation once he learned about the scandal before the 2020 election. But going back to this Hillary Clinton White House official, or ex-Clinton White House official, he says that again, it's a very, very big deal. These documents, not legally, but politically, it's a very, very big deal, he repeats. Gergen's claim may not be entirely accurate, as AG Merrick Garland, this according to Breitbart, announced last week that he appointed a special counsel to oversee. Okay, going back to my words, that special counsel means jack squat. Special counsels have not been effective in the past. We just went through this special counsel with Robert Mueller, Russia hoax, and listen, they just start looking for more and more stuff, more people to arrest. It gets out of control. It gets crazy. And these special counsels are used as a political tool, oftentimes not really seeking justice. David Gergen goes on to say, again, the ex-Clinton White House official, and I quote, "I do think that the Biden people, they may be making a big mistake." I don't think sitting there, hunkering down now, you're just acting like it's not out there. They're going to get creamed doing that. This was just Friday that he made mention of this. All right. Gergen said that the way the Biden administration has handled the matter is going to lead to the American public to ask the question, what are they hiding? What are they hiding? All right. And just a little more. So you got again, the prevailing consensus. The Biden administration is trying to get ahead of the story because they were scared of the House GOP investigations. In my opinion, you never let a crisis go to waste. This is probably what was happening. It's the easiest explanation. So that's probably what was happening. Biden trying to get ahead of the scandal. That makes sense, right? Because Merrick Garland knew about this before the election, did nothing because he wanted Biden to win. He didn't want to go to jail, didn't want his homeboy Biden to go to jail or, get impeached or whatever. Biden wouldn't go to jail, but get impeached. All right. But this smells to me now. How do you don't let a crisis go to waste? There's other people in waiting, wanting to be the Democrat nominee for 2024. This makes room now for Gavin Newsom. This makes room for Hillary Clinton because they can come out and say, hey, listen, this guy's corrupt. Even though they're corrupt as all get out, they can come out and say, this guy is corrupt. All right. So the veneer from Biden has been lost to some degree from his supporters and not all of his supporters. There's always going to be, sadly, this is just the truth. There's always going to be 40, 45, upwards of nearly 50%, maybe 48%. No matter what is said about Biden, will likely stick with Biden, no matter what evidence comes out. That's just where we're at. Sadly, our institutions have been taken over by the left, so that's where we're at. Just another quick headline I won't get into, but I will get into this tonight on my radio show. I'll be hosting my last local radio show on the answerorlando.com. I hope you guys will get to listen to the program. We'll be on 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but that will be my last local show simply because I am the podcast just takes a lot of time and energy. I do have a business, although I'm cutting back, thank God, because of the way the podcast is growing. And also within the next a month and a half or so, we are going to have a weekly television show on the Salem News Channel. So we're working out the ideas to that. And so because of that, I need to cut back on local radio and start focusing more on the podcast and that more national ventures, to be frank. But I hope you get to listen tonight, theanswerorlando.com, theanswerorlando.com. Oh, and while I'm saying that, guys, please be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you do get your podcasts. We really do appreciate it. And definitely we need your help growing, just being honest with you, all right? TheCarlJacksonShow.com, SalemPodcastNetwork.com, wherever you get your podcast. Please follow me on social media, The Carl Jackson Show. If you watch our YouTube and Rumble channel, you're going to want to today. Because I'm getting ready to play some audio for you that I think is very, very, very important. And here's what I'm arguing. We live in a post-constitutional society where the administrative state is running America with the help of the communists on top. All right. Unfortunately, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. We live in a post-constitutional society. And now we are still, I should say, we have a lot of Republicans and conservatives arguing that we need to fight within the realms of the Constitution. And I understand that because I was there just a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago, to some extent anyway. But I realize that ultimately the Constitution is the answer. Well, God first, Jesus Christ. And then the Constitution is our answers to what ails this society. All right. To what ails this country. But we can't pretend as if the left cares about the Constitution. We can argue Constitution all day long. It does not matter if the other team doesn't play by the same rules. And I really think instinctively Republicans go back to, I do too. All right. I'm not perfect in this. I do too, because I know that's the answer. You know, that's the answer, right? But instinctively we go back to, this isn't fair. This isn't right. And so we should be behaving this way. No, sorry. Here's the thing. Let me say this. Biden, here's my opinion. Biden should be treated the way that Trump was treated. All right. There should be a raid, in my opinion. I thought about this some and I was like, maybe I was too harsh. No, the more that I thought about it, there should be a raid on Biden's residences, and not necessarily the White House. I got a little crazy with that. That would never happen. He's still the commander in chief, or at least the puppeteer in chief, or the puppet in chief. There's no doubt about that. All right. So we can't change that until 2024. All right. Or unless, God forbid something else happens, or the Democrats challenge him and force him to resign and run him out of office. That's yet to be seen. But we'll have to wait and see. But this idea that justice is somehow fair, that, Biden should be treated in the same way, or Trump should be treated like Biden. No, I'm sorry. Biden's home should be raided because he's the only one that broke the law. As far as I know, President Trump didn't necessarily break the law. He took some things from the White House, all right, but he stored them in a secure location. The National Archives asked him to lock the stuff up. He did just that. The National Archives are still in disputes with the Barack Obama administration on what archives are his or what archives he can keep. The same is true with George W. Bush. As a matter of fact, I heard with Jimmy Carter, I could be wrong on this now, but I heard with Jimmy Carter, there were still negotiations about some of the stuff that he could keep, and they won it for 30 or so years. So this isn't uncommon. But we don't have the rule of law. There's no standard anymore. So arguing for standards on constitutional grounds is a fairy tale. We don't have standards anymore. How do we set up standards, or how do we return to the old standards? By making the left feel pain. They've got to feel the same pain that we felt in order for them to come to the negotiating table. The truth of the matter is, Trump should be treated in the same way that Obama was treated, in the same way that George W. Bush was treated. And Biden should be treated because he was the only one. He was the only one that was not president at the time that, in my opinion, he stole the documents. Okay? My opinion, he stole the documents. He was the only one that was not president at the time. So a raid should occur. Why? So that no other vice president ever thinks about stealing documents when they are not the commander in chief, particularly documents that are top secret. And I mean top secret, the highest classification of secure documents. And when I say documents, I learned this. Listen to Jay Sekulow Live. I learned this, that when it comes to documents, I'm sitting here thinking they're talking about Biden's documents. Oh, only 10 documents were found. Documents could be 500 pages. So we don't know how many papers. We don't know how extensive the information is. These people are corrupt. Now, let me just read this headline, and then I want to get to the audio because Gabe is like, dude, when are you going to get to this? All right, so listen. This from The Blaze. Hunter Biden asked court to block love child from using his last name. I'll dive into this on my show tonight a little further, but I just wanted to read that headline. Make sure you tune in tonight. TheAnswerOrlando.com, AM 950. The Answer, if you happen to be in the local Central Florida area, AM 950, or what is the FM? Is it, good Lord, I forget the FM, 95.5. Is that? I think it's 95.5. Anyway, TheAnswerOrlando.com. That's embarrassing that I forget that. I'm such a slacker, but it's Gabe's fault. He should have mentioned something in my ear and let me steal the credit. But he didn't do that. He left me out there, just hanging. So anyway, that's fine. But here's the headline. The Blaze. Hunter Biden asked court to block love child. Oh, 94.9. Okay. He just left me hanging for a little bit there. No, just kidding. 94.9 FM. Thank you, Gabe. Appreciate that. All right, so 94.9 FM or TheAnswerOrlando.com, AM 950. The Answer. Hunter Biden asked court to block love child from using his last name. This is who these people are. They're absolutely despicable. Absolutely despicable because he had a child with a stripper. He does not want this child to have his last name. This stripper says, former stripper says, hey, listen, the child should have his last name because having the Biden last name opens up the door to all types of privileges. You know, there's an assumption of intelligence. Why? I don't know why she would say that, and I'm paraphrasing, but she does believe that. She says that her daughter taking her father's last name will provide Navy, her name is Navy, opportunities, just like it has other members of the Biden family. The name, they believe, is synonymous with being well-educated, successful, financially acute, and politically powerful. Definitely the latter, politically powerful. Well-educated, not so sure. Successful as a mob boss, sure. Financially acute, knowing how to launder money when you're in office and out of office. When you have a bunch of intelligence and you know where to go and who to go to launder money from, yes. But anyway, but Hunter Biden doesn't want the child to have the last name because he said the child, and I'm paraphrasing, could be tormented as a result of having his last name. But his other children have his last name, and he hasn't made that same argument. Anyway, this is just how despicable these people are. Now, I want to make the case that there is no justice. Conservatives, please stop pretending like there's justice. Please stop pretending or thinking. It's hard. It's human nature. We go back to where we're human. We go back to what we know. So I keep hearing these arguments that that somehow we still live in this fairy tale life, this fairy tale world where we think the Constitution is relevant when it comes to the left. It totally isn't. There is not going to be fair play for Biden or for Trump like there is Biden. It's not going to happen. Jack Smith is a pit bull, and he's a leftist. That's the special counsel that's been hired to go after Trump. Robert Hur, he's an acolyte of James Comey, of Rod Rosenstein. He isn't going to do jack squat. So understand that. So this idea that Trump should be treated like Biden, no. Biden should be treated the way Trump was. Trump should be treated like every other president was. Now, here's some audio I want you to hear. This is Neil Cavuto or Representative James Comer. And forgive me, I forget what James Comer is over. House Oversight Chairman. All right, so he's the House Oversight Chairman, James Comer. He speaks on the scandal of the National Archives, and I want to explain why this is important, as well as other issues concerning Garage Gate. And we'll break into this just a little bit for the sake of time. We don't want to get in trouble running a long video, but just to brace you, the videos, which is a little long, admittedly, are about 2.5 minutes long. I'm going to run a couple of them, and then I'll just give you my opinion on them or throughout them. So Gabe, if you'll keep my mic up and go ahead and run the first video, por favor. Check it out on youtube.com, rumble.com, The Carl Jackson Show.
Let's go to Congressman James Comer, the Kentucky Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee. A special counsel, Congressman, what do you make of that?
Well, I'm not a big fan of special counsels, but Merrick Garland had no other choice. They made a big deal out of Trump's handling of classified documents. They appointed a special counsel to investigate that. He had no choice but to appoint a similar counsel to investigate Joe Biden. I would say that the Democrats' chickens are coming home to roost, so they had to respond in kind with that. But let me be clear, this special counsel better be just focused on Biden's classification or his handling of classified documents, not on our investigation. We're investigating the Biden family influence peddling. I think you see with what we've learned about the...
Stop the video there for a sec. This is a very important point that he made. Special counsels will start investigating one thing and they'll branch out like octopuses when this is why special counsels are so dangerous and no good. All right, because they don't do their job. They wind up oftentimes being political hacks. When they're appointed, they're supposed to go after one specific thing. And here, James Comer is saying, listen, we're going after the Biden family corruption. This special counsel was put in place. To go after the documents and to learn why Biden had documents and took documents when he was vice president, which is unlawful, which is illegal. All right. It's not illegal for Trump to take documents. There's some I'm sure some legalities out there that exist. I've listened to certain attorneys, but I got to be honest with you. I haven't been satisfied with, some of the answers because there's no real standard. There's no real standard when it comes to special counsel. There's no real standards when it comes to the National Archives. Apparently, this is why presidents negotiate with the National Archives for years and years and years after leaving office. Trump did nothing differently than George W. Bush or former President Barack Obama. Biden did something differently, and he should be treated with a different standard. I say if the standard is raiding a home for classified documents, then Biden's homes should be raided since he's the only one that we know for a fact took documents unlawfully. Let's go back to the audio, please.
Biden Center for Diplomacy, their major donor were anonymous donors from China. If you look at where Hunter Biden's money was coming from for his so-called investments, they were from anonymous donors in China. His artwork that he's selling in New York City, supposedly going to China, to anonymous buyers. I mean, there's a pattern here with the Bidens and China that's very concerning for national security. So I'm concerned about Biden's mishandling of classified documents, given the fact that China has so much access to this family. But I'm also concerned about an overall broader picture of potential corruption with Joe Biden and China.
All right. So, Chairman, if you could ignore my legal ignorance, but is there a distinction between a special counsel and a special prosecutor?
That you're asking the wrong person that. I have studied special counsel, special prosecutors. There's never been one that's really ever accomplished what they were set out to do. And they always expand their investigations. I mean, you can't name me one, whether it dated, recently or in the history of time, that was ever what I would consider effective. So the reason that Merrick Garland did this today is because he had to. They had already done this to Donald Trump. And this was a big part of their business model in trying to indict Donald Trump to where he can't run for re-election for president in 2024. Now Joe Biden's done the exact same thing, probably worse. They had no other option but to appoint a special counsel.
Yeah, it might be all.
All right. Okay. So that's there. I wanted you to hear that. And Gabe, if you'll fast forward to the part that talks about the National Archives, because it's very important that a standard is set. There is no standard. That's the problem. There is no standard when it comes to the National Archives, but they are using a different standard when it comes to Donald Trump. They're using a different standard. They even came out. I saw Mark Levin talk about this Sunday. I talked about it last week. I remembered when the whole situation with Trump and the Mar-a-Lago raid broke out, and Trump was arguing his points about why, he was negotiating with them, so on, et cetera. The National Archives came out and made a statement. Why the heck would the National Archives come out and make a statement unless the National Archives themselves are in on this and they're political? How is it that the National Archives does not understand or does not know when classified documents have come up missing? Why wouldn't they report it? Is it because they're in good with Obama? Is it because they're in good with Biden? Is it because they don't want to soil their reputation, yet they want to be political when it comes to former President Donald Trump? These are the questions we have to ask, and we have to stop pretending like justice exists. It doesn't. And I don't know what it's going to take to get through conservatives' heads. Justice is gone in America. You understand that, right? You understand that what the left is doing on the border, they're exactly implementing their plan. We'll talk about that tonight on my show. There is no justice. There is no rule of law. What they're telling you is the law works the way they want it to until they get there, they get what they want. People have got to understand this. You have got to get this. Gabe, let's do we have the second half lined up of audio? Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and roll this. This is James Comer again with Neil Cavuto. This was an extensive interview, over 9 minutes long. Obviously, we've broken it up, or Gabe has broken it up. You saw how I took credit for that, Gabe. I like to pretend like I can do all things. But anyway, I'll give Gabe a little credit. He works every now and again. I really got to crack the whip, but every now and again he does something. All right, but so here's the audio of James Comer talking to Neil Cavuto, and I promise you it's not 9 minutes long. All right, this is a very important conversation. It sounds small, minimal. It is not. It is very important. Go ahead and roll the audio, por favor, Gabe.
And
if, to your point, if they even knew about it, but you raise a good point in comparing to the way the treatment of Donald Trump here, because the Attorney General had back in November appointed a separate special counsel, Jack Smith, to oversee what amounted to a criminal investigation related to former President Trump, including the president's retention at the time of hundreds, if not thousands, of documents at his Florida estate. So now the question is, do we know even, Chairman, at this point, how many documents we're talking about here? Now, there were hundreds, potentially thousands in the case of Donald Trump. Do we know here?
We don't know, and that's a problem,
right,
because the National Archives is under the jurisdiction of my committee. When something like this happens, they're supposed to give a briefing to both the chairman and ranking member of the House Oversight Committee. They never did that with me, with Donald Trump. We just read about the raid on Mar-a-Lago in the newspaper just like everyone else. We didn't know about this with Joe Biden. This is very concerning. I'm not buying all the aspects of the explanations of how the documents were discovered, but at the very least, we want to know who had access to both the Biden personal residence and the Biden Center. Considering that Communist China was the biggest donor to the Biden Center for Diplomacy, I think we should be very concerned about who all had access to that building.
It's a very good point, Chairman. I think it's a bipartisan push for clarification. You know what? I'm curious, though, about, Chairman, maybe you can help me out with this. Is there a process in place where the National Archives, which obviously wants these and has right to these, all of these documents, when something is missing, when someone there is aware, we're missing these? Because I've raised it not only in the case of Joe Biden and then Donald Trump before him and Sandy Berger, remember, with the documents hidden in his sock, and General Petraeus, that there's a...
Hold it just a sec. Very important question. You understand, there is no standard when it comes to the National Archives. There's no set standard yet. A special counsel, and Jack Smith, fancy term for a lawyer, prosecutor, was appointed to oversee criminal allegations or charges when it came to Donald Trump. There is no standard. There's no standard. And then Biden, the only one who we know for a fact, broke law, broke protocol, as vice president, taking documents, allegedly, taking top secret documents. He's the only one that should be treated like a criminal. The rest, Trump, Bush, Obama, should be treated like presidents. Regardless of how we feel about them, they were all presidents. Biden is now, but he wasn't when the documents, dare I say it, were stolen, in my opinion. He's the only one that should be treated like a criminal. And so we're arguing that the standards between Trump and Biden should be the same. No, there is no standard. That's the problem. And the left are making up the rules as they go. Understand this, guys. Conservatives, Republicans, wake the hell up, please, or we're going to lose this fight. Now, some are. I got some great news. Harmy Dillon is making serious inroads when it comes to the RNC. Very great news. That is very good news. Rick Scott is running a seven-figure ad campaign to challenge Mitch McConnell. He wasn't done last year. He wants Mitch McConnell out. Props to Rick Scott. We got some good news going within the Republican Party. I don't want to ignore that, but I want to make sure I play this. I was going to talk about this pandemic. I'm going to save that for tomorrow. I'm going to tie it into Brazil a little bit, what's happening there. I'm going to save that for tomorrow, but I do want to finish up with this audio clip. But before I do, guys, I do want to again just remind you to please support our new sponsors. Guys, you've seen the torrential rain problem that they're having in California. You never know when disasters are going to occur. It always helps to be prepared. Make sure you get in contact with my friends, my friends, forpatriots.com, a new sponsor of ours. All right, a food shortage could be coming even in the U.S. Experts wrote as recently as July. Drought, inflation, and even new policies are pushing America's food supply near its breaking point. You guys have seen the empty shelves, all right, like we haven't seen in God knows how long in the United States. Eggs, there's an egg shortage right now. Eggs have skyrocketed. They're like 3 times higher than they were just a year or more ago. That's why survival food is more important than ever. Create your stockpile of the best-selling 4 Patriots, and that's the number 4 Patriots survival food kits. It's not ordinary food, all right? We're talking it's good for 25 years. It's super survival food. It's hand-packed in a family-owned facility in the USA, giving jobs to over 200 Americans. Kits are compact, they're sturdy, they're water-resistant. They stack easily. They have different delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. Meals are ready in less than 20 minutes. All you have to do is add boiling water, simmer, and serve. So right now you can go to 4patriots.com. That's the number 4. All right, number 4. Patriots.com. Use the code Carl, C-A-R-L, for 10% off of your first purchase, including this 3-month survival kit. You'll get a year-long guarantee plus free shipping on orders over $97. They're called 4 Patriots, the number 4. I'm getting confused in my head. The number 4. So 4 Patriots. 4 Patriots, all right? Because a portion of every sale is donated, listen to this, to charities who support our veterans and their families. Praise God. So go to 4 Patriots, the number 4, patriots.com. Use the promo code Carl for that 10% off. That's 4patriots.com, promo code Carl, and start building your stockpile today. Also, my friends at mypillow.com, they still have their 6-piece towel set that includes 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths are now only $39.98. If you go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L. All right, use the promo code Carl. Or you can give them a call, 1-800-858-0263. Take advantage of not just this deal of the 6 towels for only $39.98, but any deal. They got deals up to 66% off at mypillow.com. And again, American jobs, American manufacturing, and a Patriot and the owner, Mike Lindell. And they're just good towels. Plain God's honest truth, not blowing smoke up your butt. They're good towels. I guarantee you, if you buy these towels, you will not go back. I am not lying to you. I promise you that, all right? So check out mypillow.com, promo code Carl. All right, let's wrap up this audio of James Comer talking about the National Archives, answering Neil Cavuto's question, Neil Cavuto of Fox Business. And this is what you have to understand. There is no standard. So Trump should not have been treated the way in which he was treated, because there is no standard when it comes to the National Archives and presidents taking documents. They always negotiate that stuff. They always work stuff out. Here's James Comer, Republican from Kentucky, and now the chair of the House Oversight, or the chairman of the House Oversight Committee.
This happens a great deal, and it usually comes to light not through the National Archives or other groups saying we're missing something, but someone fessing up about something, or discovering, or just stumbling upon something. But there doesn't seem to be any sort of James Bond markings of top secret material that would immediately trigger an investigation. Where is that missing stuff?
Well, that apparently is the way it's always been. We know that previous presidents have had issues where they mistakenly took classified documents. We need to reform this whole process. You know, the president doesn't pack their own boxes when they leave office.
Yeah.
We need to have a strict process for how documents are packed and which documents can be identified as classified or not, because the president's always going to take an enormous amount of documentation with them when they leave office, because they rightfully want to write a book, they want to have memoirs and things like that. But at the end of the day, you know, this shows the incompetence of the National Archives. We've requested information. They're normally a sleepy government bureaucracy that comes before my committee once a year for a general report. They won't even return our calls right now. It's very concerning. This is another government agency that is in dire need of reform, and it's on our priority list in the Republican majority.
So when a president or a vice president leaves office, sir, I'm sure, they're intent on writing a book, as you say, or collecting for memoirs or whatever. I'm sure they have to clear that through maybe the National Archives, maybe a group before them. But much like when you take out a library book, I'm being simplistic here, the library knows you have their book. It seems to me again and again, the National Archives don't realize that you have classified documents.
That's a good point. When Trump lost the presidency to Biden, Chairwoman Maloney, then chairwoman of Oversight Committee, requested information from the National Archives, wondering whether or not the administration had reached out to them to coordinate a move, and they replied back that they had. So all the information I ever had, that was the last time I've heard from the National Archives. They said, yes, the Trump administration is working with National Archives in moving their documents from the White House.
Trump was working with the National Archives. Biden wasn't. Neil Cavuto's question, a good question. How is it, I'm paraphrasing obviously, but how is it that the National Archives, they don't seem to know which one of their books, comparing it to a public library, which one of their books is out? Isn't that astonishing? Yet they're working with the Trump administration. They get really snippy and impatient with him. They want their documents, all right? Even though Trump is the only one that can classify and declassify documents or declassify classified documents. He can do it as president. Obama could do it. George W. Bush could do it. At the time that Biden had his Obama era documents, that's what was found in the Penn Biden Center. That's what was found in his garage next to his classic Corvette. And now we get word that there was at least another document found in an adjacent room across from his garage. These things just keep popping up. That's the big story. And the same, there is no standard. There is no standard. So the National Archives, along with Merrick Garland, right? Along with Merrick Garland, along with the FBI, Christopher Wray, are deciding what the standards are. They won't even return James Comer's phone calls when he's now ahead of the House Oversight. He's now the chairman of the House Oversight Committee. They won't even return his phone calls. If you don't think the National Archives is political and they're doing everything they can to destroy Trump, you've got another thing coming. So this notion that Trump and Biden should be treated the same, no, there is no standard. Since there is no standard, Trump should be treated in the same way Obama and George W. Bush were treated. But Biden is the criminal. And he should be treated, if we're going to set standards, if the new standard is raiding Mar-a-Lago, if anyone should have that standard applied to them, it should be the actual criminal, Joseph R. Biden. Guys, listen, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever podcasts are found, thecarljacksonshow.com. SalemPodcastNetwork.com. Guys, find me on Facebook, Facebook.com/The Carl Jackson Show. Find me on Twitter, Carl Jackson Show, Getter Carl Jackson Show. Please follow me. Like, subscribe. It really does help. We are trying to get the information out. If you guys message me on these platforms, I can't answer everybody, but I really do. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys listening. I try to get back, or at least like, or I try to write. I try to read through as many as possible. I can't respond to all, but I really do because I am humbled that you guys will take the time to reach out to me. But please subscribe, thecarljacksonshow.com, SalemPodcastNetwork.com, wherever you get your podcast, The Carl Jackson Show. On social media, and don't forget mypillow.com. Use the promo code Carl. Take advantage of that towel deal, towel set, $39.98, 10-year warranty. All right, 60-day money-back guarantee. You cannot beat that. And also, our friends, our new sponsor, 4Patriots, the number 4Patriots.com. Use the promo code Carl to get 10% off your purchase as long as you are plus free shipping on orders that are over $97. That's 4Patriots.com. Use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.